On today's hot sheet, I'm discussing the producer price index. There you go. And that's for June. States with the most fixer-upper homes for sale and mortgage applications for the week. Today is BAM BBQ Day, Wednesday, July 16, 2025. I'm Byron Lazine. Hot sheet starts now. Live from Connecticut, where in just under 3 hours, we will be kicking off the BAM BBQ. BAM BBQ is the third major virtual event of the year for BAM. Started the year with BAM Pro Bowl, then BAM Fest, and now BAM BBQ. And I think today, how do we top Alex Hormozi from BAM Pro Bowl? You get 3 major CEOs, 2 from across the industry, 1 from outside the industry, Ryan Serhant, Leo Pereira, Scott Harris, myself, Eric Simon, the broke agent, and you go through all the things that matter over the next 6 months. That's what we'll be doing at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for the BAM BBQ, the biggest virtual BBQ maybe of all time. I don't know of another virtual BBQ. The beautiful thing is if Bobby can get me set up outside, which he's now trying to, I don't know if it's going to work. I saw a couple raindrops. It's going to be sunny as hell out there. If he can get that thing set up outside, I'll be able to actually have a cigar during the BBQ. What will you be enjoying during the BBQ? BAM BBQ, BAMBBQ.live. If you have not signed up yet, do it immediately. Sometimes when we get signups in the last hour, the thing gets locked up. I don't want that to happen to you. So BAMBBQ.live, totally free, noon Eastern, less than 3 hours from right now. We will be kicking it all off. So much to get into there. I'm really excited for all 3 CEO presentations and conversations. So there we go. Let's get into the producer price index here today. So yesterday we had CPI. If you missed it, the CPI came in higher than the previous month, okay? But what you really need to understand about the CPI, which is what the markets follow, and when the CPI came out, there was no change in the markets. You saw some fluctuation in the markets, stock markets in the afternoon. And what was that based on? That wasn't based on pondering the CPI for 4 or 5 hours. It was based on earnings reports, okay? And now the big news that you really need to understand in the CPI is it met expectations. It wasn't hotter inflation than was expected. It met the Dow Jones estimate. So today we've got the producer price index. This is basically wholesale inflation, and wholesale inflation for June. So back-to-back inflation reports here. Wholesale inflation in June, unchanged. Okay, PPI, a measure of wholesale cost, showed no change in June. The forecast was a 0.2% increase. And the numbers for headline and core wholesale inflation were subdued. Final demand good prices rose 0.3%, offset by a 0.1 fall in services. All of this came in kind of under expectations, showing no change, providing a conflicting signal on whether tariffs are really threatening to boost inflation in the coming months. Think about what wholesale is. To me, wholesale, the production of goods should be impacted by inflation more than some of the other items, right? Because if you really understand tariffs, they're actually a toll on cost of goods sold, okay? So when people say 20% tariff, it's not $1 going to $1.20. It's just not the case. That dollar item might have been a cost of goods sold of 20 cents. And what's 20% on 20 cents? That's where the tariff gets implemented. Okay. So PPI coming in kind of at or under expectations. This is a tame inflation report. Okay. So CPI yesterday, as expected. This one here today, Bureau of Labor Statistics released this morning, This is tame. Nothing to see here. Big tariff boogeyman, 3 months now of tariffs. Tariffs are a light switch. They're not forever. Okay. Tariffs can be changed. They're being used for negotiations. Whether that triggers you emotionally on your political leaning or not, that's what they're being used for. The market, the stock market, I'm going to take the stock market signals a lot more seriously than I'm going to take the signals of my golfing buddy who's a big lefty. Like, he's going to talk with a lot of emotion. I love playing golf with him. I don't like to get financial advice for him. Okay. He probably has $20 in his checking. So I'm not, he's scrapping it together for golf. Great friend. Not somebody I want to, based on his political beliefs, they're all of his financial conversation, all of his financial outlook is going to be clouded. Tariffs are bad because I hate the president. You got a lot of people like that. So, and listen, we don't even have enough data to know if tariffs are good. The early signs are, whoa, the U.S. government's bringing in a whole bunch of billions that they didn't have before. And so far, tariffs have not really impacted inflation. I know Jerome Powell's scared to death about that, but there's a lot of data that you can point to suggest that Jerome Powell sometimes plays politics. Might play golf with my buddy the lefty, and then I'm not talking about swinging lefty. Okay, PPI for final demand unchanged. Here's another example 3 months in that inflation isn't really being impacted yet by tariffs. And I'll watch what the market thinks. Stock market says by August 1st, the bets they're making is a lot of the tariff stuff isn't going to be a factor. Okay. And so that's what I'm going to follow. I'm going to follow the money. The money says, don't worry about tariffs. Don't let your super conservative friend or your super liberal friend talk you into a frenzy. Follow the money. Wall Street's very neutral on politics. And what Wall Street says is, hey, based on what we believe, the research that we believe, this is a non-factor. Okay. When you hear hysteria around the tariffs, look at the stock market today. When you hear a whole bunch of hyperventilation over tariffs, dig a little deeper. It's usually somebody who's politically driven. Okay. And a lot of, some of the politic talk can come into this stuff. It's all relevant. I hope it doesn't trigger you. But it's relevant on the decisions that are being made. I see Jeff saying, I thought Powell was going to resign. Like, why haven't I brought that story up on the hot sheet? I saw it floating around IG a little bit because Powell hasn't said anything about resigning. And because just because Bill Pulte, the FHFA director, says he should resign, to me, it's a non-story until there's a signal that he does resign. Or to me, it's a non-story until the president implements a shadow Fed chair. It's, that is the political stuff that I typically will stay away from. Now, policy, decision, hard data like this one, the PPI, we definitely want to talk about that because it's relevant for where might rates be in the future. The future trackers right now said they'll be right where they are. I'm not saying that that's the right decision. I clearly believe Powell should be cutting. The Fed FOMC should be cutting in July. CME Group says 97% chance that does not happen. Poly Market says 96% chance that you don't see a cut on July the 30th in 2 weeks, essentially when the FOMC meets. And now Poly Market, this is, to me, this is a reversal here. Only 37% chance that there's a cut in September. 55% no change. That we'll keep our eye on that. Obviously, that meeting is over 60 days away. But that's a little bit, I think there's been an expectation that there's going to be a cut in September. Now the betting market says, not so fast. we're kind of leaning the other direction that there might not even be a cut in September. That'd be detrimental for a lot of reasons. I think Powell is waiting too long on the cuts, and inflation. Another signal here today to me that inflation has really been tamed, and we'll continue to see as more reports come out how that might influence the Fed. All right, Realtor.com put out a report on which states have the most fixer-upper homes for sale. Most fixer-upper homes for handy buyers. I'd kind of change that. Handy buyers. How about investors, right? Where should I be? You had a lot of investors in Florida 5 years ago. Where's the next market? Florida's got a lot of inventory. So if you can get something cheap enough, make it nice enough, sure, but there's limited demand relative to the supply in Florida. Okay, where are the opportunities? And if you're in one of these markets, what does that look like for your email newsletter? What does that look like for your next IG carousel post? This could be a hyper local news headline for you. Okay, if you're in one of these states, which states have the most fixer uppers for sale? Well, West Virginia. What's the song West Virginia, Haley? You know it? Haley doesn't know it. Take Me Home. Why weren't you singing it on the mic? You could have been singing that. West Virginia leads the nation in fixer-upper inventory. 9.3% of listed single-family homes are in need of repairs. Nevada, where you get a lot of new construction, lowest share at 1.8%. The Nevada, Las Vegas has changed a lot, I think, for the better. I think it's a beautiful city. I was just there. A lot of feels new. They're getting Major League Baseball soon. They've got NFL. They're talking about NBA. The city of Las Vegas is changing dramatically before our eyes. Feels new. A lot of new inventory. So fixer-uppers, not as relevant. 1.8%. Okay. Where do you land on the map? If you look at the Midwest, if you look at the Gulf section, besides Florida and Texas, the Gulf states, Midwest, Northeast, you've got a lot of for sale inventory, single family, that are in need of repairs. Okay. I mean, I look at the Northeast and I'm like, when I saw these numbers, 8.1 in New York, I think it was 7 point something in Connecticut. I'm like, well, it's way more than that, but it's just the homes that are on the market. Okay. Because I'm like, I could drive around Connecticut and almost point out every home is in need of repair. Maybe my idea of homes in need of repair and other people's are different, though, to be fair. Fixer-uppers, they're cheapest in West Virginia. They're cheapest in Iowa. More expensive in Hawaii and Massachusetts. This is the average price of the median price, rather, of fixer-uppers. Okay, $295,000 in Florida, you can get a fixer-upper. $175,000 in Texas gets you a fixer-upper. If you're looking in California, $529,000. Do California folks? I just got a question. Maybe throw it in the chat if we got any California folks here with us at 6:44 local time, their time. Do you hate it when somebody who doesn't live in California says Cali? Hey, Haley, how is it over there in Cali? A lot of California people say they hate that. That's cringe. But I like saying Cali, so I'm going to stick with it. 529 in Cali, out there in Cal. Beautiful state. So there you go. There's your fixer-upper. This is just some of the highlights of the fixer-upper. Georgia's in at 205,000. Let's take a look at the rankings here. States rankings. No, I call it Cal. Well, Carrie, are you from Cali? Give me some. Find out if Carrie's from Cali. Because if she's from West Virginia, it's like me, not relative. She's from California. Yeah. All right. So thank you. I have permission from Carrie. Carrie from Cali. I'm rolling with it from now on. Thank you, Carrie. Hope to see you at BAM BBQ. All right. State rankings by fixer-upper share of listings. As said, West Virginia, number 1, 9.3%. Mississippi, Michigan, Illinois, New York are your top 5, all up and over 8%. New York, you can get a median fixer-upper for $225,000. Number 6, Indiana, you can get a median fixer-upper there for $129,900. I mean, you can't build it for that. Obviously, it's a fixer-upper. You got to put money into it, but wow, $129,000. be hard pressed to find a lot in the Northeast for 129,000, or in California where Cary is. Connecticut's at 325,000 for the median fixer upper. So that's the highest price point of the top 7. It's a 7.7% share of single family listings on the market are fixer uppers. The fixer upper discount is interesting, right? You get a discount of 66% in West Virginia. You go to Connecticut, it's only a 42% discount. Lower inventory than most states, or than every state right now. So higher demand for first-time homebuyers settling more in a place like Connecticut than they might have to in other places. So those other places get a higher discount. Ohio, 7.6%. Maine, Pennsylvania make up your top 10. Where are the least fixer-uppers? If we go to the bottom of the list here, as mentioned, Nevada's at 1.8%, but Arizona's on the list. A lot of new construction. Utah, a lot of new build. Idaho, Colorado, South Dakota, South Carolina, Florida, ton of new, right? Washington, Texas, ton of new. Tennessee, lots of new. And then New Mexico. So there's California's right there at 39. So there's your bottom third or so of states that have a relatively low share, really low share of fixer uppers on the market. California comes in at just over 4%, 4.1%. California also has one of the smallest discounts. Nevada that is there in the low 30s as well. 33% for California, 30% for Nevada. Most states are up over 40% on the discount. You have Massachusetts at 32%. Rhode Island at 31%. Again, Northeast, be thinking high competition there. And that drives that discount to a lower number. All right. Unfortunately, we did see a lower number in something that we don't want to see low numbers in. It's week over week mortgage applications. Okay. The seasonally adjusted purchase index for mortgage applications over the last week recorded decreased 12% from the prior week. Okay. Now let's really dig into this. Let's keep in mind, what week was this? Well, this was the week ending July 11. That means it was the 4th of July holiday, and that, coming in on a Friday, that weekend after that Monday after 4th of July, I'm not sure how much productivity there really was. Okay. Haley, were you in on Monday? Okay. She took Thursday and Friday off though. So you either extended the weekend before the 4th, or you extended it into Monday, Tuesday. A lot of people rolled it up for the whole week. And so just like we saw with new listings, just like we saw when we tracked inventory on Monday, and you can catch the replay here on the YouTube at Now BAM. Subscribe to the YouTube. It's the free and simple way to support, or you can always get the replays on Spotify or Apple. You can go back and listen to the replays from any day that we do the hot sheet. But Monday we talk about inventory and the impact of the holiday. We expected down numbers. We'll see what happens next week. Maybe this number goes up. Obviously, rates are up a tick, but this is impacted by more than what Joel Kahn, the NBA vice president and deputy chief economist, said. He said, hey, treasury yields, which were up higher that week. There was renewed concerns of impact on tariffs on the economy. As a result, mortgage rates rose after 2 weeks of declines. And so he really tied it to rates. Typically is tied to rates, but you have to factor in the holiday as well. So 12% from the week earlier. But the big news now is, and I think this is 23 straight weeks where the unadjusted purchase index increased, but the unadjusted purchase index versus the same week a year ago is 13% higher. So we're continuing to see a future is bright soft data point. This is soft data. It's not showing up in the hard data yet. Closings, pendings, relatively where we were last year, suppressed numbers, real estate recession for the last 3 years due to, where we're at on rates and transactions. I get it. But if you're looking for a shining light, if you're looking for hope out into the future, to me, it's this number. It's the multiple weeks in a row, 20 something plus weeks in a row of year over year mortgage application growth, because that tells me there's a lot of buyers that when maybe the right rate hits, you get 5.9, you see an explosion. I'm not calling for that, but realtor.com is calling for 6 at the end of the year. That when that moment comes or the right house comes for them, there are a lot of buyers that are truly, maybe it's an affordability issue, but truly they're looking at the real estate market ready to jump in. Okay. Relatively speaking, over the last 30 years, we're still at a low point versus the financial recovery and 95 being the other two real low points on mortgage purchase application. But as mentioned, 20 something straight weeks of year over year growth. We are starting a trend. Okay. To get to a peak, you've got to start a trend somewhere. And we are now starting that trend to get back up into a more normalized place for mortgage purchase application growth. We get to realtor.com's prediction of 6% by the end of the year, really over the next 5 months. You will see this application growth. You will see a jump. Okay. One of these moves. Okay. Maybe even a sharper line like this one here in the spring of next year. Not saying we get to here. I'm just saying you'll see this number jump up. We get down closer to 6%, which again, realtor.com has held firm on that prediction. They are one of the most bullish when it comes to their 30-year fixed mortgage prediction from Danielle Hale, their chief economist, who we've had on Knowledge Brokers podcast. Is fascinating, super smart. Florida State University alumni. I'm not part of any alumni, but I think that's pretty cool. All right. 4.455, 10-year treasury is where we're at today, down a tick, still at the 1 month high level. And that is obviously elevating mortgage rates from where we were just probably about a month ago. 6.85, a tick higher yesterday on the 30-year fixed. Remember, we got as low as like 6.6s. We were at basically year-to-date lows just a few weeks ago. That big, beautiful bill went in, and then the tariff negotiations ramped back up, and these numbers have moved up since then. 6.72 was the 30-year weekly. Okay, the only thing between now and noon that I'm doing, I hope, I got to check my calendar, but I'm pretty sure the only thing I'm doing is final preps for BAM BBQ. If it's not on your calendar, go to bambbq.live. We're going live for the barbecue in 2 hours, just over 2 hours, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time. BAM BBQ Live, myself, Eric Simon, the broke agent, along with Ryan Serhant, Serhant Technologies CEO. He's got the show. He's got season 2 on Netflix coming out. Bravo star. He's investing in AI. Serhant joining the show this afternoon or this morning if you're on the West Coast. Leo Pereira, CEO of EXP, has a lot of very clear and definitive opinions about where the industry is going. He's also a practitioner. He's been an agent. One of the reasons I really love talking to Leo, if you have checked out our interview, then you're going to want more up to the minute, fresh information from Leo. That's what we're going to get today. Scott Harris, outside the industry, CEO of experience.com. He's going to walk you through a presentation on how to show up better in search in this AI changing world. This is what he does for a living. Scott Harris, I think I'm going to get a whole bunch, Ailey, of just messages, people saying, thank you for Scott. Like didn't know about Scott, but that was mind-blowing what he shared with us. And so there you go. This is noon Eastern today, 9 a.m. Pacific time, bambbq.live. Free. Register right now if you haven't done so yet, and I will see you on the BBQ. Till then, toodaloo.